Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to work on a fall scene card. Here's everything I'll be using. I have my towel, of course. I have my fussy cutting scissors and all the cardstock I'll be needing, including my base. And I'll be using this die, which is Birch Trees. I'm not sure what this company is. I don't know where I got it from. This stamp set from Illustrated Faith, I'll be using that sentiment as well as these leaves and acorns. My Misty, of course. And I have these markers because I will be coloring for the first time. This is all I've got, so this is what I'm using. Sharpie S-Note, and those are the colors. And I have my anti-static tool and embossing powder in gold, and my Versamark, of course. And for ink, I'll be using the VersaFine, and Distress Oxides in peeled paint and broken china, and my blending tools. So let's get started. I'm going to start out by stamping the leaves and acorns that I'll be using in this card. So I am going to just make a little gathering, a little group in the corner here of the paper, and I'll stamp these down and then just move the paper around and keep stamping because I'll be fussy cutting these out and coloring them as well. So I just want, I'm not going to use all of them that I stamp, but I wanted, a few of them. I'll be using them in the scene. So here I'm just positioning, I figured it'd be easier to move the paper around and stamp the images as opposed to taking them off, rearranging them on the other part of the paper. And I mean, that's what I thought. And clearly here I keep adjusting, so I don't know or not, but that's what I did. That's what I went with. So I'm going to stamp them one more time. I ended up stamping them a total of 4 times. So I had way more acorns than I needed, but I ended up using all of the leaves that I stamped. So it worked out well. And one of these acorns have a little heart in it, which I thought was really cute. And it goes well with the sentiment, even though these are 2 separate sets. But you'll see. So I'm going to clean off and put these away. And then I figured it'd be good to go ahead and get my sentiments stamped. So here I'm going to do the same exact thing. I've done this in another video where I'm going to trace around the stamp itself. The reason I do this is because some sentiments, I don't know, the way they're positioned, like with the fancy fonts and all that kind of stuff, I just feel like it looks awkward on just a square piece of paper if I cut this out, or even round or oval. Like there's too much space in odd places because the sentiment is positioned differently. I don't know if that makes any sense. So for stamps like this, I just like to trace around it so that I have just a silhouette that kind of, it'll look like I die cut it, in the shape in which, the words are formed. So I like doing this. So I'm just fussy cutting this out. No big deal. And then I'm going to line this up, make sure that it worked out well. And it did. I was happy with it. So I'm going to put this, set this up, and I am going to emboss this. So I'll be using the Versamark and my gold embossing powder to do this sentiment. So here we go. I'm stamping it. And one time was good. It stamped well the first time. So I'm just going to take that out and we're going to pour this gold goodness. I've been using so much gold lately, but I think it's just because of the season. It kind of just goes with everything. Looks well. I'm sure for Christmas and winter scenes and things of that nature, I'll be doing a lot of silver. Okay, so I'm going to heat this up and melt this, and then my sentiment will be ready. And then the next step is I'll be coloring. So yeah, the coloring situation. This is the first time I'm doing anything like this. It's the first time I'm making a scene card. It's the first time that I'm actually coloring. I don't have any markers, like I don't have Copics, I don't have any alcohol markers or anything like that. I have wanted them for so long now, and I think I'm gonna maybe treat myself as an early Christmas gift or something. I really, because this part of the entire card was by far my favorite. It was so relaxing. It was so much fun. And I just wish I could do like fancier things, with the shading with a couple different colors, but I just couldn't. This is all I had were these Sharpie markers, and so I used them. Luckily enough, I did have colors that kind of went with what I was going, so that was good. But yeah, I definitely want some alcohol markers. I want to play around with that. But this was a lot of fun coloring in. The fussy cutting part of this, not so much. I don't enjoy fussy cutting, but this was a lot of fun. So I'm just using, now I'm doing the leaves. I'm using a couple different shades of green, and then I'm going to pull in like a dark orange. It's kind of like a marigold or something, just to give a little, not highlight, but fall leaves are all different colors. They have, reds and yellows and oranges and greens, different shades of green. So I figured I'd be okay with this choice, and it worked out well. I think the card came out nice. So I'm just going to finish this up, and then I will be fussy cutting them, but I'll be doing that off screen because, there's no reason why you should have to suffer through that. So I'm almost finishing up here, and then the heart, I figured I didn't have a red marker. I don't have a red marker, but I did find this Tombow, but it's more like a pinky red, but it worked out. It did that. So here we go. I fussy cut them all out, all done. So I'm just going to clean up. So now I have my sentiment is taken care of, and all my pieces are fussy cut out. So now I'm going to do the die cutting. I'm going to take the Birch Trees die, and I'm going to cut this out of brown cardstock. And I'll do that off camera as well. Real quick, 1, 2, 3. Here we go. So now these trees, I like these trees, and I think this would be really fun to use in a winter card, like a winter scene or a Christmas card, something of that nature, and do it in white. I think that would be really nice. So I'll definitely be doing that once I start working on some more winter themed cards. But this was a little bit, fussy to get out. It's so intricate. It has really thin pieces with the branches and everything, so it was a little hard to kind of really take everything out, because I was scared like it would rip or one of the branches would like fall off. But when you do, it's really awesome. The detail is really, really nice. So that's all done and taken care of. So now I'm going to take my panel, and we're going to just take a look at where they sit, and I wanted to just draw a little fine line of where the grass would go up to, because I wanted the branches, not the branches, but the tree to sit in the grass. I didn't want it to sit like right on top, so I wanted to know how much I needed to color. So I took the peeled paint and just did the bottom of the card there up to the line, well, a little bit past the line. I went a little bit above. And now I'm taking the broken china and I'm doing the background, the sky. And with this, I was thinking of leaving like the center. You see how it's white there in the center. I thought about leaving that and then maybe doing like an orange in there. But then I changed my mind and I figured I would just leave it a little lighter. I don't go as deep as I did on the edges. Just like a little highlight in the center there, and that worked out well. So now we're going to take this panel and I'm going to cut it down to the size that I need. And so this panel ends up being 4 inches by 5 1/4, which is perfect because the die is 4 inches wide. So it literally goes from one side to the other of the birch trees, which worked out great. So I'm going to line this up. It's going to hang over the top because I don't want it too low. I want it to fit everything that I'm trying to build here. So here I'm just kind of lining things up, just a dry run here. Just putting everything where I want it. Get an idea I'm not sticking it down yet, but just to get an idea of where I'm going with it, how much of these pieces I'll be using. So like I said earlier, I did use all of the leaves, but I just used a couple of the acorns. I only used one of the acorns with the heart in it. I thought it'd be cute to just have it up in the tree. So now I'm just going to put glue all along the tree in the back. Easy peasy, some wet glue so it gives me a little bit of time to kind of position it, because the branches just, you know, they're very thin and they spread out, they move around a lot. So I wanted to make sure I had enough time to kind of set it up and move it where I want it, place it right where I want it. And just gluing these little fine pieces down real quick, and then I'm just going to take the whole panel, I'll turn it around, and I'll just clip the top of it off. All those pieces that are hanging off there. There we go. So it's looking good so far. I love the broken china and the peeled paint together. It just, those two colors look really good together. Okay, so my branches are in, and now we're gonna put that little acorn with the red heart. I thought it'd be cute to kind of have it hanging off of that branch on the top in the trees. Thought it was a cute little touch. So I want my sentiment to be popped up, so I am putting some foam tape on the back, and then so behind it, like when I did the dry run, I was going to put some of the, you know, leaves and an acorn in there as well. So I wanted the space to have, you know, all that's going to be gathered behind the sentiment, so I wanted to have it popped up so there's enough room for me to do that. So now I'm going to position this bottom little scene here. I'll put it right where I want it, and then I will take, what I'm going to do with that acorn is I'll take it and I'll put some wet glue behind it, and then I'll place it down back on the scene, and it'll kind of grab all those leaves so they stay right where I position them. And I grab the whole piece and then just put glue all around it, and then I put it back down on my panel right where it belongs and just press. So that scene was easy to put together. Now again, I put my sentiment where I want it, and I'm going to do the same thing with the leaves for the top portion. Just position it where I want it, and then put the sentiment, see where it sits, and just move it around, just kind of get it ready. Now with this scene, I couldn't just take the acorn and glue it because it was spaced out differently. So I just had to, piece by piece, just kind of put it together, add glue, put the other pieces in, and then put glue on everything behind it and put it where I want it. So this card is going to come together very quickly. It took me a long time to do this video, this card, because I first of all, the coloring, I was just taking my time with it. I sped it up, of course, in this video so that you didn't have to be tortured. But here I go. I placed the sentiment down, and then I'll just take this whole panel and put it on my base. But it took me a really long time to fussy cut, so that took a really long time. But after all that was kind of set up, it just came together very quickly, as you can see. So I'm just going to center this, eyeball it, press it down, and that's my card, guys. It's the first time I've colored. I've done fussy cutting and die cutting and ink blending. I mean, this card has it all. And the sentiment says, cultivate a thankful heart. So I like it. Let me know what you think. And of course, if you're watching this and you're not a subscriber, please do so. Please subscribe, leave a comment, and like the video. And for all of you that already are subscribed, thank you so much. And you already know, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.